Gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right.
As the advocate for mental illness and people living in homeless situations, how do you feel about the homeless situation? When you look around, is there solutions? Are there people on task force or city governments that can come together and provide the needed resources of shelter, prescribed medication, therapy sessions? What is it that we can do as a community? What is it you can do as an individual to go out and help one homeless person or a group of homeless people?
I started this back in 1992 at HBRP in Palo Alto. It's a program for homeless veterans that had drug and alcohol problems. It was a 2-year program as well. It was 18 months, and then after I completed that program, I went on to do a Wednesday night group for the next 4.5 years, mentoring and teaching conflict resolution tools and relapse prevention classes. The causes that I recognize that really helps create our homeless population is depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorders. And without those are all mental health issues. And what happens is once we can treat the mental health part of the person's, then they can get clean, and then they can get some clarity, and then their lives can become manageable again. What happens is sometimes we want to put people in places that they're not going to be able to stay there because they're not able to manage their anxieties, their depression, their anger, and those are real issues that help create homelessness. So once we work on the issues, our behaviors equals intent. If we really want to change how we operate, we have to change how we think first, then we can change our behaviors. I found that this works, the cognitive way. It's cognitive therapy. Change your behavior after you change your thinking. But first you have to change how you think. My take on what does society really, how they can really help the homeless that have these issues of PTSD, depression, and anxiety, is to not to just turn their head towards us like, oh, they just like that. We need to really talk to them, get them some help with mental health, with mental health, or someone that has the ability to give them something to change that, so that they can get that imbalance balanced. See, it's an imbalance, it's a chemical imbalance in many cases that creates that. We would say they start acting up, and it's not that they really want to act up, it's just that imbalance, So that's what I believe. I think the onus is on us that we look out and we need to get people the help that they need. One of the first things that we do is first get the imbalance taken care of. We get them into mental health. And then we get them in a structured environment, and this is the way the structure works, and if we do it this way, that we have an opportunity to make it. And what I found that our success rate is over 65%. Yeah, that's way above the norm. That's way above, because we treat the whole person. We don't just want to treat the alcoholic person or just the drug person. We want to treat the whole person. What creates that atmosphere for you want to reduce yourself to alcohol and drugs? And once we can find that out, then we deal with that, and you have an opportunity to not have to go back again. My motivation is that one of the 5 C's that we talk about in my program is continuance. Continuance is giving back what was so freely given to me. I'm an alcoholic addict from Vietnam. I was introduced to drugs in Vietnam, and I stayed at what some people would call a functioning addict for over 20 years. worked in the Silicon Valley at a real high-profile position as a systems administrators, analysts, but I was still an addict. And I know that I needed to help somebody when I got help. Once I found out that I could live without that, and what my life could be, how fulfilled it is to really help someone that's still suffering, like I was suffering, you know, and it's no greater gift. I want to say, first of all, is, you know, I believe in my organization is a faith-based organization, so we have to have a higher power. For me, I choose that to be my Lord Jesus Christ. So that's where mine started at, all those things, and I believe that He provides all these other people and places that we can get ourselves taken care of, and I just believe that we need to seek those helps, and let's not be afraid or ashamed to seek the help that we need, because that's false pride when we don't get the help that we want.
They suffer from losing a job, let's just say, not educated enough to keep the jobs, and now they're homeless. Then we also have people who are breaking up out of relationships, and then now they suffer at the hand of not being able to access resources in their community. And in this particular community, there's a vast number of community resources, but not always to people who are suffering with, you know, some people get them who are not suffering with mental health issues. Some of them are people who can navigate the systems better. But the people who are not able to navigate these systems are the ones who suffer the most. I have people that come through the door, and we do have stigma, still, you know, discrimination. This company, part of the thing that I work for, you know, an African American outreach program that we say that we deal with African Americans and their particular needs, and we also talk about that we deal with people who are from other ethnic backgrounds, and we try to, you know, help them with their particular needs. But are we really truly helping them with their needs? You know, are we capturing everybody that's coming through these doors? We're not, like we need to. You know, we need to capture everybody who is suffering at the hand of our system. We should have enough people. We should have enough resources to go around for everybody, but it's just not that way. Because we've been taught survival of the fittest, I guess. That those who, you know, the haves and the have-nots. And I do believe that that is a part of it. I believe that, you know, people work off of people's weaknesses. You know, some people suffer at the hands of other people trying to captivate them based on their weakest point. Well, some people, you know, suffer too because there's depression that actually, when people are deprived of sunlight, they get more depressed. You know, and that's why I've had clients that come in here and say that because I've been talking to you, it's the first time I truly saw sunlight, even though the sun comes out daily. But this is my first time ever seeing it. Because why? Because my mind is clear enough now to be able to know that I'm okay, that I'm worth something, that I'm valuable, that I can achieve and be something. But before, no one said that to me, that I can do that. So someone like this is probably someone who is craving this alive state, trying to get to a place where they can say, I am alive. The sun makes you feel that way. I mean, it opens up your eyes to see something different. We got a lot of youth, kids, who have been abandoned by parents, you know, they want them to survive and, you know, do things. They don't want them to steal anything. Well, if I don't have any food and I don't have any clothes, I'm going to Target, you know, and I just going to have to get caught, and I'm just going to have to, you know, go to jail. And it's also, too, for me, because I'm very spiritual, it's a lack of spiritual understanding. You know, that sometimes there is this force or this other part of things, or what I would call, for lack of a better word, a devil kind of thing, that is happening that really affects our lives that we don't really realize. You know? And so a lot of people are mentally ill, but they don't have a spiritual connection that can help them to deal with things on a totally different level instead of this natural level, which I call it usually is where you're trying to get help from people who don't really care, who don't understand, and so you're trying to ask this other human being who didn't go to school and doesn't understand what you're doing and going through So they make it worse sometimes. Some people who don't understand mental illness make the person that is suffering worse off because they're not considerate, they're not caring, they're not loving enough to know that, it's just like if you had someone who had just had an operation or they were just diagnosed with cancer or something like that. The love and acceptance that you give to that person who is going through that, go make sure you don't stress them out. You go through the chemotherapy with them because it's something that your mind can say, this is real. Some of the things that I think is just taking away the stigma of what mental illness is. Stop making it so taboo. That it's some yucky, hands off, don't touch these people kind of thing. When we get to a place in our system where we can say that this is something that people are going to deal with all the time, that they're going to be suffering through things just like anybody else, because medically, people, they accept all kind of diseases, but they can't accept people who have mental illness, and I think that's the biggest thing, our stigma, our discrimination against people who have, illness. But the solution to that would be acceptance. Just like any other community. Accept me. Just like black people, I want to be accepted. I want to learn how to read. I want to learn how to write. I want to do what I need to do so I can grow and develop into a human being that I was created to be. Same thing with mental illness. Allow me to be me, and allow me to have times where I'm not 100% okay. Allow me to, have feelings that are not maybe like your feelings. Allow me to go through this and accept it and to deal with it in a different way. But most of the time, it's shunned. People won't say it. It's just like people trying to come out of this society right now. They're going to be shunned because why? Because we have a society that says, no, you are just not okay in my book. Same thing with mental illness. You're not okay in my book, and until you are, you're going to be segregated. You're going to be ostracized. You're going to be minimized. To that light, yes, you can see that there is progress. You can see that there has been change, and good change, in a positive direction. We just need to be more progressive with it. So that, we say we're always going to have the poor with us. Yes, I believe we will. People are not going to rise up to the occasion and do it. But I think we do need to continue to be as progressive as we can be so that we won't allow our children who are coming up behind us to have to suffer similar things, even just in a different way. We may not be being lynched, but we're being held back in school. We may not be, made to come into the houses and clean up and, be a servant. But then we do have, where you got this made-up job now where you're going into your jobs and you're almost like a servant to your employers, so we've moved and we've progressed, but we did it in a different light. So now it looks good, better, and I think we're coming to a better place because I think people are starting to realize that mental illness is really a severely important aspect of us. I think that now people, even like after this guy in Connecticut, what happened, they even said that they're going to tighten up on mental health, people who are providing mental health services. They're going to tighten up on it. Because how in the world do we miss this? They come through our services. No, we're not going to catch everything. That's just not going to happen. Because some people are not going to tell you everything. But we can get better at recognizing, identifying, and what else is important is to help that individual feel good about who they are, to come into an awareness of who they are, because a lot of mental health clients don't know who they are. They have no idea. So they're walking around accepting the mental illness as a part of their life that has to continue forever. So if they want, that's why when they come into me, and I know that they're severely mentally ill, but they also can function. Those that are in state hospitals, some of them can't function. Those that can function, learn who you are. Learn that you are greater than your disease. They say in the medical field 90% of healing comes from the neck up. What does that mean? That means it's how you're thinking about it. It's not about what I'm doing to you physically that's curing you. It's how you're thinking about you're going to be cured. As a man thinks, so is he. You think you're going to be that way, that's how you're going to be.